All right, everyone, welcome back to the Kris and Berman Show. The phone lines are open, 845-791-WSUL. You can also interact with us on our Facebook page at Kris and Berman, or on our Twitter page at Kris and Berman, or our Facebook page, facebook.com/Kris and Berman. Both of those active, up and running, and we've got a little bit of a doozy to talk about, I think.
At least for this county.
Monticello Mayor Jenkins, front page of the Times-Herald-Record today. Kris, what is going on with our local mayor?
In big, bold letters, the mayor says, and the title says, Jenkins says firefighters are racist. Monticello Mayor Gordon Jenkins has fired off a letter charging that the Monticello Fire Department doesn't have any respect towards African-American people and claims village firefighters have used the N-word and have shown a lack of respect around black village officials.
So first the cops, and now... No, continue. I'm assessing this in my head. Yeah.
Jenkins wrote the memo on Friday on village letterhead after a spat between the code enforcement officer James Snowden and fire officials outside a village restaurant 2 days earlier. It is addressed to Dennis, who was not fully identified but is presumably the village consulting attorney, Dennis Lynch. Jenkins wrote, Dennis, I just wanted you to know that this is not the first incident that I've encountered. James has complained to me repeatedly about name-calling, including the N-word. He writes that Snowden's assistant has...
Is that nice?
Huh?
Nice?
No, they're not talking about nice.
Neat?
No, not neat.
Nipple?
No, not nipple.
Neanderthal?
No Neanderthal. You know what N-word I'm talking about.
I don't. Why don't you refresh me?
Maybe if this was an uncensored show, I could do that.
Okay.
Trustee Carmen Rue said that the claim of racism in the fire department is nonsense. There are Spanish people and black people over there, she said. The mayor is just speaking for himself.
Okay, now we've actually tried to get Mayor Jenkins on the phone today, but...
He's also been in quite a bit of trouble beforehand. Why don't you explain to the people what Mayor Jenkins has done in the past? What's his track record?
Okay, well, supposedly. I know he was just in court. It's one of the reasons why we haven't been able to get him on the show. He's been dealing with a lot of the stuff, and he is willing to come on at some point, just obviously not yet, not today. One of the things that Mayor Jenkins is accused of is hitting a police officer.
Okay.
Now, what I was told happened, and I've actually talked to people who have been involved in the situation on both sides. What I was told happened was...
Oh, these are from your sources? Your homeless men sources?
These aren't the two homeless lady sources that I normally use. This is an actual source. I was told that he swung around, like in a fight with another man, swung around and accidentally hit a cop. So it's not that he really tried to assault the officer, but things just kind of went down that way.
Who was the punch intended for?
It was intended for the guy that he was fighting.
I get that, but who was he fighting? What
I don't know.
Caused them to have a conflict like that? He's the mayor. He shouldn't be fist-fighting people in public.
Now, I agree with that, but I don't know.
Okay.
It is very odd, though, that the mayor is fist-fighting someone outside of a bar.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, it shouldn't happen. People who are elected officials should not be bar fighting.
Yeah, our mayor's the Black Dos Equis guy. He's the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always get into bar fights. But what I do, I make sure I am the mayor of Monticello while I do it.
When I do, I punch a cop.
Okay, so that's one. That's one thing that he's done in the past. Now he's making accusations at the fire department or just tossing out the N-word at people.
Yeah.
And what else has he done in the past?
Mayor Jenkins?
Yes.
Well, there's been Eric.
I heard something about fake sneakers and how he was manufacturing fake sneakers and selling them.
Well, what can we talk about? What actually happened that's proven so we can? I don't want to get in trouble.
No, this is not. It's not about what you can prove, what you can't prove. I just want to know, like, what are the rumors behind
what
this guy?
He's been accused of?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, I mean it was a year or two ago, maybe a little longer. I do remember something about in his store, his shoe store that he owns. He had Nikes that weren't made by Nike. He was counterfeiting, and he got in trouble. I think he took a plea deal or something. And I know he made restitution to Nike, and I believe he donated those shoes to like third world countries, if I remember the story correctly.
He should have donated them to the people in Monticello who need shoes. Third world countries, we have people here who don't have shoes in their feet.
So he was personally making fake Nikes and selling them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he was making them or he was, getting them from like Chinatown or something. I don't know.
Okay, all right. And is that all the Mayor Jenkins dirt we have, or supposed dirt, I should say? Because these aren't proven. These aren't.
Well, that one he
completely
was
true yet.
indicted on. Right?
Oh, was he?
I think he was indicted on that one.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that one.
Was he the mayor at this point?
Yeah.
Or was he just a guy running a shoe store?
Yeah, he was the mayor.
He was the mayor.
Yeah.
Selling fake shoes.
I mean, I don't think that helped him. It's not like he placed in laws to have sweatshop factories in Monticello, so it's not like the shoes are being made here. But
Wow.
yeah, that
So,
happened.
He is an interesting guy.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to have him on this show.
He's definitely the most interesting man in Sullivan County. That's not even a question.
I'm saying, but the shoes look good.
They do look good, Mayor Jenkins.
They look real good.
How those Jordans?
That took me 7 hours to make, man.
So he's claiming that the firefighters in the town are racist. What do you think? Now, I know that you didn't grow up here, Kris, and you're very new to this county, but what's your impression immediately on
What's my impression immediately?
on the county in terms of from the people that you've met locally? Do you think that this is a possibility that we do have some racist people in?
Well, everyone that I've met locally has been nothing but nice to me, so I can't say that I get any kind of racist vibe from them. You know, everybody, hey, how you doing? Give me a handshake. Girls give me hugs. It's not. I don't feel awkward at all.
You've never got the ew a beaner.
No, no one has ever called me a beaner.
Okay, except for me. I'm the only one.
You're the only one.
Okay, I've used some other words too.
I mean, a guy did ask me to build him a deck the other day, but that's it.
So it is kind of strange, though, that our mayor has such a weird relationship with the police department and the fire department. Now, I know the guy that he said complained, James Snowden, is actually someone that he put in place. That's something that there's been problems and people have been arguing about as well. James Snowden is the code enforcement officer.
Yes.
Of the town. And I guess, Eric, if I'm correct on this, you can let me know if I'm wrong. He was placed in by Mayor Jenkins to keep a watch on the police department, on the racist police department.
I'm not sure about that. There's been a couple. I'm reading the news over the past year. All these stories are mixing and matching with me. I know there have been a couple of incidents where people have been placed in the police department that shouldn't have been. Okay. Including an officer. Mm-hmm. And I know he was recently let go because he had a history that would never have qualified him to become an officer.
Well, you never know. He could still get a job as an officer down in Florida, like that article we did last time.
Okay.
So according to you, Alan Berman, Mayor Jenkins believes that everyone in the police department and fire department is a racist?
I don't know about everyone, but I would say definitely more than a silent majority, he believes. Because, I mean, it's not from Alan Berman. That's what the Times Herald Record says today. This has been stated before.
The Times Herald Record talks about the firefighters, but you, Alan Berman, brought up the police department.
Yes. I mean, it's been noted before. Let's put it this way. I've talked to Mayor Jenkins. I've heard him express this point to me.
I've
heard him say to me, I don't think they want a black guy in office, talking about the local people in the county.
Really?
Yes.
Do you get that sort of vibe? Since, because you asked me, what was my impression of this town now that I moved up here? Do I feel any racist vibe? But you've been living here your whole life, so you should know more than I do. Do you feel like that there's a lot of racist people up here?
I want to say no and yes. I think it's very weird how things work up here. I think everyone is very accepting and tolerant of each other until things go wrong.
Until things don't sway their way.
Exactly. And then when things aren't swaying people's way, that's when we kind of look at any point we possibly can to blame someone else instead of ourselves, that we might have had something to do with this.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, the Mayor Jenkins thing, for example. The racist thing. Now, I'm not saying that
I was trying to get another example.
No, but this is the one I want to use. This is the one I want to use. The firefighter example for in particular.
Yeah.
This is one man's opinion. This is what Mayor Jenkins feels. Now, my question is, does he feel this way because himself and James Snowden were put in place and or were put in there kind of against the firefighters and cops' will, that they weren't necessarily well received? So is that the reaction that they're getting, that maybe we're not liked because of our skin color? Or maybe there actually is some racism going on. Maybe there are some N-words flying around that aren't Neanderthal. Who knows?
Yeah, you really
Who
don't
knows?
know.
I have no clue. What I do know is I would like to get Mayor Jenkins on the show himself so we can comment. Now, we've reached out several times, and this is what I ask from you local townspeople. If you're a fan of this show, or you're a fan of our station, or even if you just would like to know a little bit more about what's going on with Mayor Jenkins, help us reach out to him. Because so far we've tried to book him several times. It hasn't necessarily happened. And don't bash or be mean because he wants to come on. It's just
we just want to give him a platform to talk so we could hear his side of the story, because the only thing you really know about is what they put in the papers and what you hear on TV, but you never really hear it from the horse's mouth.
Now that's it. Now I've heard a lot of negative things about this guy. I'm not going to lie.
So have I.
Majority of the people that I've spoken to about Mayor Jenkins and the job that he's done have gone back to the fact that Monticello looks like a ghost town and he's done nothing to help that.
If that's how people feel, then why did they elect him in the first place?
They don't. There's a divide in the county, and that's where the race thing comes in.
Okay.
Or at least that's what I've been told. Is that a lot of this comes down, it really is almost like a race thing in terms of who they're voting for, almost like they're voting on a race base.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying not to say too much because I don't want to get myself in trouble.
And plus, you really don't know much about the situation.
Exactly. I only know from what I've been told, and I know exactly what I feel personally, which is that there is a middle here that we're not seeing and we're not missing because we're not in the board meetings. We're not seeing him interact with the firefighters and the cops. We're only being told what we see in the paper or what we hear from hand to mouth, from mouth to mouth, what we're hearing hearsay.
From hand
he
to
said,
mouth.
She said.
What are they doing? Saying language or sock puppets to people?
Exactly.
Mayor Jenkins said this, everybody.
Everyone needs shadows to communicate, apparently, in Monticello, according to me. So that's where we're at with this. But I would like to know more. I would like to move further with it. Because, listen, if there is some racist stuff going on, we'd like to know about it.
We should know.
And we'd like to apprehend it.
As citizens of this county, we should be able to know about this. We need to know what's going on in our county.
But if there's not and our mayor is making false accusations, then something needs to be done about that as well. I mean, the fact of the matter is right now, we have a major problem in Monticello. The question is whether the problem is Mayor Jenkins or whether the problem is the local townspeople who are willing to accept him as mayor and try to work with him to make this town a better place to live. But either way, something needs to happen to where we can start rebuilding Monticello instead of all fighting against each other. Instead of being...
It's like there's a divide here.
Oh, it's beyond a divide at this point. It's beyond a divide at this point. What it is it's just two separate sides. It's been divided, and they're clear there are two different sides. There is no middle ground.
What are the two sides?
Dude, I would love to film the Monticello board.
What are the two sides?
There's the board, and then there's Mayor Jenkins, and everyone who's with Mayor Jenkins. I would love to film the Monticello board just to see the craziness that goes on in there, because nothing really ever gets done.
Do you think it's just a screaming match every time?
They're an example of what Congress is right now, with the Democrats and Republicans unable to really make anything pass because they refuse to give up anything on either side.
Yeah.
They're a very good example of what's going on with our country throughout the whole country.
Just a standstill.
It is. It's just a standstill from two stubborn sides who are unwilling to meet in the middle. Now, I don't know Mayor Jenkins a lot. I know him a little bit, and I got to be honest. From the conversations that we've had, I like the guy. I do. He's a very personable guy. Maybe he's also very nice to me.
Maybe that's how he got elected into office, just being a nice guy.
And just so you know, Mayor Jenkins, I personally don't mind a black guy in office. I couldn't care if you were Spanish, Asian, if you were a Wookiee, if you looked like Chewbacca, I wouldn't care as long as the job was getting done. So what we'd like to do here on the Kris and Berman Show on WSUL, we would like to figure out exactly what is going on and how can we help. Let us monitor, mediate the situation. You remember peer mediators as a kid? Did you have that in high school?
Never.
Or elementary? Okay, exactly what it was is they would take some of the outstanding students.
Okay.
Or some of the students that were very personable and were able to really be a good monitor.
The leaders.
So instead of bringing, I was one as well. Eric's pointing to himself. I was one as well. So instead
Wait, hold on. You two guys were leaders?
Yes. I was the chosen leader.
Yes.
If Monticello, if you can see what I'm looking at right now, you can see the two people that I'm staring at.
My school district looked at me and they said, that's the future king of the Catskills. This man needs to be a leader.
King of the Catskills, king of the Catskills.
So we had something called peer mediators where you would have one student help hatch out the problems between two other students. That's what we need here. We need an independent party to come sit down between Mayor Jenkins and the board. Now, I know originally Tony Cellini, former town supervisor, right?
I don't want to stray off topic, but I feel like you were an instigator.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. I was on both sides. I wasn't only a mediator. I've had problems as well, but we'll get back to that later. Mayor Jenkins and the board, they need to have someone in the middle sitting down and kind of monitoring and helping the situation out. Tony Cellini went in there for a day. Ran out of there with his tail tucked between his legs, said, I can't handle this. The craziness is too much for me. Well, Tony, I'm different than you. I love the crazy. I thrive on it. I am personally volunteering my services today Although I'm an idiot. I'm very well aware of the fact that I'm an idiot, but I'm at least good at getting people to sit down and have a conversation instead of yelling at each other. So I am volunteering my services to sit down with the Monticello board for no pay every day after work and help them hatch things out until this town is running smooth again. So everyone out there can't say that I didn't offer to do my part. Now I'm hoping you guys go out there and do the same as well. Offer up your services to help this town. Don't let them just bicker and argue on Facebook or Twitter or emails. Go out there. I urge you. Go out there. Do the right thing. Make a proactive stance in trying to help this town get better by trying to mediate between the two sides and saying, okay, things aren't working. We need to figure things out. And you know what? If the case is that it's just Mayor Jenkins, then he needs to be voted out. If it's the board, let's fix that, shape that up, and get them out of there. But either way, something needs to happen for this local town so we could start thriving like Western New York is thriving, like Roscoe and Callicoon, or like Middletown area is thriving.
I'm going to go on record and say that I want more people to come forward and volunteer to be mediators so that Alan isn't the only choice Monticello has to be a mediator.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I know that, you definitely want to be in there, and I feel like your intentions are good, but I don't know if you're the right man for the job.
Why am I not the right? If anything, I am the right guy for the job.
I don't feel like you are.
Who can handle crazy better than me?
You see,
who understands crazy better than me?
But you're too crazy.
Huh?
You're too crazy.
That's what they need. They need someone to out crazy the crazies.
You think that's
Serious?
what it is?
Yes. We used to have a photographer that we used to take our headshots with. When we were doing stand-up, Kris, both and I used this guy. He was also a fellow comedian. He was bat stuff crazy.
Yes.
I wanted to say something else. Clearly can't. He's bat stuff crazy. You know what I used to do? Everyone would not want to go to this guy because he would do phenomenal work, but they were scared of spending the 2 to 3 hours with him to get the headshots done because he's nuts, and they were scared of what he might say, do, or even the fact that he could possibly shank you while you're not looking.
I was one of those people. I was petrified that you told me I had to go to this particular person to get my headshots on. I'm like, really?
But Kris,
I was like, we can't get another person to do this?
Kris, you saw me there. What does Alan Berman do? He out-crazies the crazy. He makes the crazy guy feel like, oh, wow, this kid here is going to stab me. Something's wrong with this kid. So he doesn't even acknowledge the fact that he's the crazy one in the room because I'm there. So he's already on guard and padding his walls.
Yes.
That's what I want with this board meeting, with the town and Mayor. I want them to be like, oh, that Berman kid, he's nuts. We better be on our best behavior before he starts throwing things and having a fit. That's what I want.
So you want everybody to look at you like a 3-year-old child?
If that's what it'll take to fix this town, yes. Yes. I will out crazy the crazy in the board meeting and monitor and mediate this thing down to it working. Down to this town being rebuilt, and not only Mayor Jenkins and the board getting along, but I want them hugging and singing Kumbaya and roasting marshmallows over a fire by the end of it. That's my prediction. Sylvia Brown, that's my prediction. That I can do that. Just throwing that out there.
If you can get that done, I will personally, I don't even know what I'll do, but it's going to be big. What should I do? Because I really don't, I will donate $1 million to this county.
Yeah. What? You would donate money you don't have. I'm going to donate $1 million. I don't have $1 million, but I'll donate it eventually.
If you can out crazy the crazies and mediate the situation to the point where it becomes a patch situation, I will find money to donate to this county.
I think I'm that good. You could drop me off in a mental ward, and I will get people off meds by out crazying them. Seriously, in straitjackets, in padded walls, I will go into their room, and by the end of it, they'll be reading the newspaper while I'm bouncing off the walls.
Jeez,
it's a psychological thing. You could out crazy people. It really is, because when they feel that they're being out crazy, they calm down because they feel that they have to be the normal and responsible one in the room.
That's how I feel now. That's how I feel right now at this moment.
Oh, man.
That's like I'm being out crazied, so it's just let the crazy guy do his thing, and then hopefully we can make it to break before FCC finds us.
But I didn't do anything outlandish.
Not yet.
All I did was offer my services. All I did was say, Monticello Town Board, Mayor Jenkins, you guys want me there? I'd be more than happy to come and sit with you. I'd be more than happy to come and solve
That should be filmed, honestly.
It should be. It should be filmed regardless if I'm there or not. It'd be a great reality series, the Monticello Board. Oh, man. All right. We'll be back after this on the Kris and Berman Show. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Kris and Berman here with you on WSUL. And earlier today, we were talking about Mayor Jenkins. And we were talking about him accusing the local firefighters of Monticello of being racist. And I am taking calls. I was all the 845-791-WSUL. I see a lot of you kind of don't want to call into the station, but yet you want to post on Facebook. And a lot of the responses to what I posted earlier about us talking about Mayor Jenkins, I didn't say what side of the fence we're on, considering we're really neutral here. It's a lot of negative. I'd like to know why so much. Maybe there's something that Kris and I aren't getting to. Maybe there's more to this story than what meets the eye. But we're going to keep an open mind here until the mayor comes on to talk with us, and or until we hear from a lot more of you. I know I'm looking at the responses on something I posted today. It must be like 50, 60
Can you
people
read
who
some of the
responded.
responses? Don't mention the names, but just
I don't want to because some of them are, I'll read one. I won't say who. Someone wrote, do we expect anything less from this piece of trash? When things don't go his way, the race card is reintroduced. I don't understand why the local paper would even print this anymore. I'm sure they're happy we're talking about this.
Do you feel like he's quick on the trigger to pull the race card?
I don't know.
Because I know you've had conversations with him before, and you also live in this county, so you know kind of his background, and you know things that he's done and said.
I know that I've heard it from him personally, and I've only spoken to him twice.
What did he say to you?
He told me, I don't think they want a black guy in office. Talking about the local townspeople.
So,
but yeah,
right,
he was
so that
voted
that was the first time you talked to him.
Yeah,
and he
think
pulled the race card.
His perception is, for the most part, if you didn't vote for him, you are fully opposed to him being in there. But to him, it's a race thing. It has nothing to do with some of the ways that he's handled certain situations in the county. It's a race thing, that you don't like what's coming out of his mouth because he is a certain color and you're not that color.
Wow.
But I don't know for a fact.
Do you see that happening a lot up here? That people are quick to pull the race card, that they feel like it's not because of who they are or what they've done, it's because that they're black or because they're white.
I'm in high school. I used to deal with that all the time. I used to deal with kids who used to do that all the time. Like I'd
Really?
have someone, I used to have kids walk up to me and, yo, can I get $1? Yeah, and I'm like, yo, can I get $1? And if I say, why? Because I'm black, right? Or yo, can I copy your homework? No, why? Because I'm black, right? My answer back, yep.
Yeah.
What do you say after that? What do you say? Like, obviously, I'm not racist, but I'm not going to buy into your garbage on you trying to white guilt me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We suffer from that a lot, white people. We have this thing called white guilt, where because of what happened, slavery in the 1800s, 1700s, before that, because of that, now the average everyday white guy has this white guilt where they feel...
it's like you owe them something?
Yeah, like kind of like it's reparations.
Here, you can copy my homework just because I know what happened.
Oh, reparations. Yeah,
you
it's
see,
fine.
I never really had to deal with that because I'm Spanish, so I was kind of like caught in the middle.
Yeah.
But I have definitely witnessed it before, like in school, outside of school, like like I feel like I should not all of them, but people like certain black people definitely do pull the race card very quickly.
It does happen. I'm not saying that this is what Mayor Gordon Jenkins is doing. We don't know. We'd love to talk to him. I would love to hear his side of the story because the last time I did speak to him, he did have some valid points along with some craziness thrown in there as well.
Yeah.
So I would like to speak with him. And by the way, real quick, before we dive any further on this, our listeners down in Tampa are talking about getting us a billboard. I'm not even kidding. I'm being tweeted right now on the Kris and Berman page on Twitter at Kris and Berman. They're talking about getting us a billboard, and I would love nothing less.
What would our pose be on the billboard?
Huh?
What would our pose be on the billboard?
That's a good question.
Kris and Berman show. We don't approve the race card.
It would have to be something really cheesy. Maybe we'd pose in like Trayvon hoodies.
No,
since
don't
that's
do
where
that.
It happened.
Don't
No?
do that. That's
Well,
horrible
maybe
idea.
you don't, but I do. Maybe I pose in a Trayvon hoodie.
You're gonna be Trayvon hoodie?
Yeah, and I'll have Skittles in one hand and I'll have a Sprite in the other. And it'll say, "Don't judge me till you get to know me." The Kris and Berman show from 6 to 10.
Oh, but let's get back to this. You said you've witnessed it in school and outside. Have you ever witnessed outside of school?
What, the race card?
Yes.
No. To be honest with you, no. I've never dealt with a lot of racism in my life. I've never dealt with having to deal with people who've had to deal with racism. It's never been something that I've really been a party to. I know it exists. I've never personally seen it around me, so I don't understand it. And on top of that, I've never experienced it because I am white and Jewish. I've gotten some, like, hey, you're a Jew?
Yeah.
But never, like, hey, you're a Jew? Like, and then they walk away and they're fully disgusted.
Yeah, I get you.
But I've definitely, one time in my life, I think I dealt with it. I was in Italy vacationing with my girlfriend. We ended up going to this beach, and we tried to rent a few cabanas. And the guy looking at me saw all the Jewish tattoos around my body, and he kind of, I think, was disgusted by me. I could tell by the look in his. He didn't say anything.
Isn't it kind of like, what would you say? It's like an oxymoron that you would have.
Well, it's Italy, so I'm thinking
you would have Jewish tattoos.
I
and
know,
be Jewish. Like you're desecrating the body, but you're representing your religion.
Well, in Israel, they have tattoos because they don't believe in that stuff.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so I have these Jewish tattoos, and this guy at this resort in Israel is looking at me like he's Mussolini's cousin. And that I'm like this just horrible person. Another person didn't get the reference. Because you're looking at me like,
I know who
do you know who Mussolini is?
Yes,
you get the whole World War II, how they hated Jews, they helped Hitler.
I get it.
Okay.
It just wasn't funny to me.
It was hilarious.
So just continue.
I'll make dumber jokes. I'll make fart and wrestling jokes for you to get you to laugh.
It just wasn't a funny joke.
It was all right.
Why does he get so mad when like one of his jokes doesn't go over so well? Like I have to laugh at everything that comes out of his mouth.
Not everything, but that was decent. That was decent.
Just because you actually made a reference that took a couple brain cells to put together doesn't mean that it's going to be funny.
Whatever. My point was, I felt violated. I felt like I was violated on that beach that day.
Really? Just
in Italy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've experienced racism before.
Have you?
I think I told you the story about how the cops they came out of the van. They saw me walking in the neighborhood. I was in Long Island at the time, and they asked me what I was doing, and I said I'm pretty much waiting for my friend to pick me up. And they told me they don't like little S words like me in this neighborhood, referring to like the derogatory term for Spanish people.
Okay.
And they threw me to the ground, and then they just got in their car and drove off.
Really?
That was it.
All right. Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can think of one time, now I'm like you jotted memory in my brain. I was driving around with my friend Darius Buckner.
Mm-hmm.
And we were driving into Monticello, and we were both younger at the time. I think we were like both 15 and 16. So we were both smoking cigarettes, 'cause that's what you did when you were younger to be cool. And my car had smoke in it.
Okay.
And I remember the cops seeing my car, following me for about 15 feet, and then pulling me over. I was going through Kiamish, so it was as I was getting onto the highway to go towards White Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I'm almost positive I got pulled over because Darius was in the car.
Really?
I'm almost positive I got pulled over because Darius was in the car. I'll never forget it. I felt like I got in trouble for driving while black because he was there.
DWB?
Yeah, I got a DWB by association. But I could tell from how I've dealt with cops in the past to how I was dealing with them now that there is definitely something going on.
There's a difference in treatment, the way they treated you when you were by yourself than the way they treated you when you were with Darius. And why, were they a little more jumpy, or do you say a little more harsh?
Yeah, they were a little jumpy. Now, by the way, I'm getting a lot of the comments. I posted, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's not my actual Facebook page that I posted this comment on that I'm getting a lot of the Mayor Jenkins reaction. It is the uncensored Sullivan County, New York News and Politics page, which I love. We actually get a lot of our show prep from there. We see, because, I mean, this is a page with a lot of the local people in the county who have either lived here before or currently live here now, who are really, They want the best for the county. I don't agree with everyone's opinions in there, and I don't necessarily hate Mayor Jenkins as much as everyone in there
But
does.
at least these people are getting together and they're actually talking about it.
Yeah, but this is what I was saying before, and especially now that I have your ear. Please, go out and be active. Go out and go to the local board meetings. This page, as fun as it is not going to do anything in terms of making this county progress. So the next step is, after getting your gripes out and talking on this page, the next step, by far the next step, is doing something about it. Now, I'm not talking doing something crazy, but doing something proactive in a positive way. Like, go out, talk to your local congressperson.
Yeah.
Go out, talk to your local board. Go sit down and have a conversation with Mayor Jenkins before you bash him. If he doesn't give you the opportunity to do that, I understand your frustration. I understand why you're venting on this page. But we do have a mayor who's easily accessible. Or at least to me, he was. I've never met the man before. I picked up my phone. I called his office. He called me right back within the first hour or two, and we had a conversation. Granted, I also wasn't jumping down his throat the second we started talking. But I think a lot of the issues in this county can be resolved. We just need to stop fighting against each other and work hand in hand. And like I said, I volunteer myself personally to go down to the board to mediate between Jenkins and the board members, and I will out crazy the crazy and solve the problems. How? I don't know. I think the problems will be solved by the people in the meeting. I think me just being there to be able to say, no, you're crazy, you're crazy. This is how you guys should speak to each other should be.
I feel like one of the problems is the people, when they get into discussions or when they get into arguments, they are the guys who have the opposing side and who pretty much they're on the other team. They see him as the enemy rather as a person in the community who just has a different view on it.
Yeah,
you know. So I feel like that's preventing everybody from uniting as one.
I think I got a cavity.
Thanks for changing the topic. Like
Sorry.
anyone in the audience cares that you have a cavity.
I didn't mean to blurt that out. It's just my mouth is hurting. So I think I have a cavity. I need to call my dentist.
Oh, you want to stop the show early so you can check on your cavity?
I think I need to get out of here.
You'll be eating too much candy.
Exactly.
You sweetheart.
Hopefully Brian's listening to this right now. He'll call me like, dude, I know you need your teeth filled.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Jenkins, we're at a standstill, my friend, and we're here to support you up to this point because we are on both sides. We are here to give you an outlet to talk to the people in the county who aren't necessarily big fans of yours, to give you the opportunity to sway them, to say to them, hey, you might not have agreed with the way that I dealt with things, but this is the reason why I did this. So, we are opening the floor. Mayor Jenkins, we are opening our show to you, and I'm saying this publicly, so that you know it and everyone else knows it. Open door policy. It doesn't matter who we have booked. I don't care if we have Jay-Z booked. I'll bump Joe Camel. We're getting you in here.
Now we're not going to get Jay-Z because you called him Joe Camel.
Oh, come on.
Even though he really does look like him.
He does.
He does.
He kind of looks like he should be on a pack of smoke.
He looks like Joe Camel.
Telling me I'm going to get cancer if I use one of his products. Oh, man. So, floor is yours, Mayor Jenkins, and we're here for you. I think that's it for us for the rest of the day, unless that's him calling. And I really don't want to take any other call, unless that's Mayor Jenkins or someone complaining about how vile of human beings we are.
That's probably the lady, because we haven't heard from her today, so maybe that's her calling
that
up
woman
to
on the
complain.
air. Yeah. So, my bad for talking over you.
One day I wish as soon as she calls up, we just patch her right through so she can just air her grievances out and her not knowing she's on air.
Well, what I think we should do is set up a voicemail for anyone, whether you have complaints, comments about the show, you have positive...
if you have complaints, they automatically put you on air?
Well, no, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to, at the end of every show, if we could do this, set up a voicemail box. And Eric, you let me know if there's a possibility. We could set up a voicemail box where at the end of every show we could have people call in and either give us suggestions, complaints, or tell us what they liked.
I love that you thrive off of complaints. Like, you love when people complain about
I don't thrive off of complaints. It's just I think it helps us grow.
You like to not be liked.
And we and we talked about this yesterday. I've always kind of wanted to be the Joker.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed the bad guy. And it's not that I don't like people or I'm just this horrible person. There's always something fun about being the bad guy.
You just like the chaos, the anarchy.
And I was a huge Razor Ramon fan as a kid.
Right. Okay, Chico.
We'll leave on a wrestling note. I'm going to throw my toothpick at Eric and we're getting out of here. Once again, a joke 3 of you can understand. You're welcome. We love you, Hudson Valley, Sullivan County. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place.
All right, show's over.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out the boys on Facebook at facebook.com/Kris and Berman and on Twitter at Kris and Berman. You can also follow the boys at Mr. Alan Berman and at Real Chris Hasbin. We'll see you tomorrow.